I was saddened to hear of the passing of Jose Napoles, one of the truly great welterweight champions of all time. He died aged 79 after a long bout with some kind of illness I'm not sure of. Now, he had the nickname Mantequilla, which is Spanish for butter. When you watch this guy fight, a guy who managed to rack up 13 defences of the welterweight title, he had this amazing way of moving. He fought in such an easy manner, like the most relaxed guy you could say. He just shuffled his feet, kept his balance, and then he let his hands go with these super smooth, really creative combinations. He was one of the most creative composite punchers you will ever see in all of boxing, certainly that is filmed. If you've never watched him, bang in some of his fights on YouTube, particularly his title-winning effort against Curtis Coates in the late 60s. His movement and the way he lets his hands go while just not being fussed about what's coming back is amazing. And he had this really great way of just subtly moving your head. He was really an exponent of the principle that you really just want to make a punch miss by just a few inches so you're in perfect position to counter. And he would just make punches just slide past his little head. And then whoomph, look at the punches that come back. He was really amazing. Now, I just said 13 welterweight defences, but actually he had a pretty small frame for a welterweight. A lot of people feel Mantequilla was better as a lightweight, and he did spend a good bit of his career at lightweight before going up to welterweight. He beat very good fighters of the time, not very well known, like Carlos Hernandez and Eddie Perkins, and he was a particularly venomous puncher back then who could put you away with either hand early or late on. The one thing with Mantequilla was that he cut quite easily. It's something that plagued him throughout his career. I don't know what it was, the shape of his face around the cheeks here and above, he seemed to cut very easily. He did also try and fight Carlos Monzon, or I should say he did fight Carlos Monzon, but when you consider, even though he was the welterweight champ at the time and Monzon was the middleweight, so it was just a weight up back in those days, when you consider the differences in frame, it really was a little guy against a big guy. Monzon was a massive middleweight, and Napoles was a pretty small welterweight. He gave it his all. He did land some good shots on Monzon, but he got a bit beaten up and, of course, cut to ribbons. Again, if no one's ever seen this guy, do yourself a favour, check him out on YouTube. He really is, or was, an artist.